Hi guys, how you doing? This video I'm going to be showing you how to do a if formula. Now ifs are a vital tool to Excel, and it's probably one of the most used one apart from some. Now if it checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another is false. So here I've got a scenario for you. Here we've got this year's January to September figures, and we know that from January to September this year we've made £55,497, and we can see last year the same period, January to September, was 66,951. Now that's very easy. Obviously we can just do that minus that, and we can find the difference, and we can see whether it's an increase or a decrease and so on. But the way I'm trying to do this is, if this was a certain company or a client and you had a number of them and it was a much bigger scale, this would come in very handy, just to give you a nice visual whether each company or client is an increase or decrease. So anyway, let's start off with an if formula. Alright, so equals if, double click that. Now the logical test, that's basically what what question you're asking it. So the question we're asking it is whether this year's figures are more than is that little arrow, last year's figures. Okay, that's the question we're asking it. After the question, we'll put a comma. Now value if true. First off, I'll start with numbers and I'll show you text anyway. Say for instance you want to see visually with a number whether it's an increase. Let's just say for instance if it's an increase we want to see the number 1. Okay, simple as that. And we'll put a comma, and if it's not we'll put a 0. Okay, so if it's a decrease we'll just put a 0. Okay, simple as that. If this year is more than that year, then put 1. If not, put 0. So we can see 0, which just comes out in pounds. So there we go. We can see 0. That works fine. Now you don't want a bunch of 1s and 0s all over your page because it looks dreadful. So what you can do is you can specify what text you want it to see. You can also specify what conditions to do, and you can trigger other formulas based on the question that you've asked. But we'll start nice and easy. So we want to know an increase. So rather than just type in the word increase, when you type it like this, it will try to look for a formula called increase, which is what we don't want. So to put text within a formula, we have to put it in speech marks. So we want it to say increase if it's increased, and we want to say decrease if it's decreased. Okay, so we can see it's decreased. Yep. So that is how to do an if formula, nice and easy. What we'll do is now we'll try and make it a little bit trickier. We've got a nested one, because if you think about in this scenario, what would happen if they were both the same? You wouldn't be able to, with just this, you wouldn't be able to say, well, if it's the same, how to do it. So what we do is we add we do a nested if statement, so we ask it more than one question. So we can see here, we've got all the months of last year, we've got all the months of this year as well. There we go. So what we'll do is we'll do this equals sum, so we'll get the total for all of these so we know what we're working with, right? Alright, so there's our totals. We can see this year, in a different scenario, we're making more money than we were last year. So, just to show you a more complex one, we'll do equals if. Now, imagine this, the totals down here weren't there. I know obviously you can just put equals sum in and total it up nice and easily, but I like to make things a little bit more complicated so you learn. So if we do equals if, So instead of having this extra bit of detail down here, we'll just do equals if sum. We'll put a completely different formula in. The question we're asking is if sum this, which we know this formula is going to equal to this, okay, is more than, and then we can do sum again, open bracket, and select this, and we know that this is going to be this. So if sum is more than sum of last year, that's the question we're asking. So basically, is that is more than that, we can put, again, increased. We know if that is more than that, then we've had our profits have increased. Now, instead of going decreased, we need to ask, well, what if they're the same? What if they're exactly the same and we wanted to say something else or do something else if they match? So what we'll do is we'll do another if formula. So we're going to ask it another question. So if sum, rather than typing it all out, it's exactly the same as this. I'm lazy like that. I don't like typing. So if that equals that, which we know it doesn't, but if it did, then we'd put the same, simple as that. Whatever you want. You could put banana. Well, we're going to put banana because we can. We can put whatever we want. Having trouble. I'm not going to write banana. I obviously can't spell banana. Apple it is. And if it's full, decreased. Okay. If after all those questions and it isn't more than and it doesn't equal, then we know it's going to be decreased. I'm really having a bad day here spelling. Decreased. And what you have to do is you have to close off all your formulas. You can see easily how many formulas you've got left. Basically, you can see that bracket is a red bracket, which is for that if formula. So red and red. We want the black one, so we do another one. You can see the black one pops up to shut it all off, and we can see that it's increased. Perfect. If you wanna, if you look at that formula and you think, wow, what is going on in there? What is the question? What is the true and what is the false? The best way to do it is to click it and go through. You can see here, this is the question, and you can go through bracket for bracket. We're still in the question, and we can say, right, that's the question, and then after that comma, value if true. This little box here shows up, and we know that we're on value if true, and you can just go through your formula that way. Okay, and just to show you everything's working dandy, we'll put them the same, and we'll see the magic apple. Oh God, no. We'll type it. 448938. It's me trying to be lazy again. Oh, come on. Good grief. Ah, see, look at me. So if we copy that, I'm confusing myself here. So there we go. Apple. If these are exactly the same, I was referencing this and this was wrong rather than referencing that. You can as well, just to make things simpler, if obviously that is more than that. These are, I mean, in terms of formulas, and when it comes to working out how the formula works and debugging a formula, this is probably one of the most complicated ones you're going to find. Is with ifs, but once you master ifs, you'll be a guru at everything. And there we go. We'll do that, and then bam, apple. Nice and smaller as well. I was just trying to make things a little bit complicated for you. So there we have it. That is an if formula. And thank you for watching my video.